The midday sunlight streamed through the maple branches at Riverside Park, casting soft shadows across the playground where children's giggles filled the warm spring air. Emily Carter sat on a nearby bench, observing her 7-year-old daughter, Sophie, swing quietly back and forth, her long auburn hair flowing like satin ribbons in the gentle breeze. At 34 years of age, Emily had built a thriving consulting firm employing over 200 staff members. She was widely admired for her remarkable skill in resolving complex problems and connecting with individuals. Yet, the one person she could not reach was her greatest treasure in the entire world. Sophie had not uttered a single word since the tragic car accident that claimed her father's life 18 months earlier. Emily had tried every possible approach. Speech, therapists, child counselors, play therapy sessions, even costly specialists from far-off cities across the country. Doctors assured her Sophie's vocal ability was physically intact. Her silence was an emotional shield, protecting her from grief too heavy for a young child to process. Today, as on countless other days, Emily brought Sophie to the park, hoping other children might encourage her to reconnect with the world around her. But Sophie remained in her quiet bubble, joining in activities yet never making a single sound, communicating only through gentle nods and soulful eyes that seemed wiser than her tender years. As Emily watched closely, Ammon approached the swings with his young daughter. He appeared to be in his early 30s, dressed in a casual green shirt and jeans, exuding a calm confidence that suggested ease in his own skin. The girl beside him, about Sophie's age, had golden hair and a radiant, contagious smile that lit up the playground. "Hello," the man said to Sophie with a warm, friendly tone. "I'm David, and this is my daughter, Chloe. May, Chloe used the swing right beside you." Sophie glanced at David with curious eyes, then at Chloe, nodding politely before resuming her silent swinging motion. Chloe hopped onto the adjacent swing and began pumping her legs with great enthusiasm. "I love swings," she proclaimed to no one in particular. "They make me feel like I'm soaring through the sky. Do you like to feel like you're soaring high, too?" Sophie offered a faint smile, the first genuine spark of joy Emily had seen in weeks. Chloe's lively chatter and boundless energy created a warm, inviting aura around both girls. David gave Chloe a gentle push, then turned his attention to Sophie. "That's a lovely dress you're wearing," he said in a conversational tone. "Blue's my favorite color, and Chloe's too, though she's in yellow today." Emily leaned forward, struck by David's natural ease with children. He spoke to Sophie as if her silence was perfectly normal, not something to fix or overcome. His voice carried no pressure, no expectation of a response. "Daddy," Chloe called out, swinging higher. "Can you show her the special swing trick you taught me?" David grinned at his daughter. "I suppose I could, if she'd like to learn. It's a unique method that makes swinging even more enjoyable." Sophie's eyes brightened with keen interest, and she nodded eagerly, her curiosity evident. "All right," David said, positioning himself where both girls could see him clearly. "The secret is to believe you're not just swinging, you're gliding through the clouds, and when you glide through clouds, you make their special sound." Chloe giggled with pure delight. "Show her, Daddy." David took a deep, exaggerated breath and began making soft, swooshing noises as he demonstrated pumping his legs in rhythm. "Swoosh, swoosh, like the wind through the clouds." Chloe joined in, mimicking the swooshing as she swung back and forth. "Swoosh! I'm gliding through a starlit cloud." Sophie watched, captivated, her eyes wide with fascination. Emily could see her daughter's inner struggle, the desire to join, battling the walls she'd built around her voice to shield her pain. David continued his gentle encouragement. "The best part of cloud gliding is that everyone's sound is unique. Some swoosh, some hum softly, some whisper like gentle breezes. There's no wrong way to glide. Emily held her breath as Sophie's lips parted slightly, yearning to join yet fighting her silent shield. "You know," David said, sitting on the ground before Sophie's swing to meet her gaze directly, "new cloud gliders sometimes need a bit of extra magic. Would you like some cloud gliding magic?" Sophie nodded solemnly, completely enchanted by this kind stranger who seemed to understand her deeply. David reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, smooth pebble. "This is a special stone I found by the ocean shore. Hold it. Make any sound. Even the tiniest whisper, and it boosts your voice's magic, letting you soar higher than any swing ever could." He placed it gently in Sophie's small palm, closing her fingers carefully around it. "It works best when you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let any sound flow naturally." Emily watched, stunned, as Sophie gripped the stone tightly, closed her eyes and paused. For several long moments, only Chloe's swooshing and the swing's soft creak filled the air. Then, so faintly Emily almost missed it, came the sound she'd prayed for over 18 months. Swoosh, a fragile whisper, delicate as a moth's wing, but undeniably Sophie's voice. Emily's hand flew to her mouth as tears swelled in her eyes. David's face lit up with pure, genuine joy, as if Sophie had achieved something truly extraordinary. "Wonderful," he said softly. "That's perfect cloud gliding. You're a natural." Encouraged by David's words and the stone in her hand, Sophie took a deeper breath and tried again. "Swoosh," she said a bit louder, her voice gaining strength and confidence. Chloe squealed with delight. "She's doing it! She's gliding through the clouds too." For the next few minutes, both girls swung together, making swooshing sounds and giggling as they imagined soaring through dreamy imaginary clouds. Sophie's voice grew stronger with each passing moment, as if making sounds was rebuilding pathways that had been closed for so long. Emily approached slowly, not wanting to break the spell David had woven around her daughter. "Mama," Sophie called suddenly, her voice clear and joyful. "Mama, I'm gliding through the clouds. Listen." The word "mama" struck Emily like a bolt of lightning. She hadn't heard it since the crash. Tears streamed down her face as, cherished to Sophie's swing. "I hear you, darling," she managed through her sobs. "Your voice is absolutely beautiful." David stood up, giving Emily and Sophie space for their heartfelt reunion while keeping a gentle eye on both girls. When Emily looked at him with overwhelming gratitude, he smiled and nodded, as if helping children find their voices was the most natural thing in the world. "Thank you," Emily whispered to David. "I don't know how you did it, but you gave Memmy daughter back." David's expression grew thoughtful. "I didn't do anything special. Sophie was ready to speak again. She just needed someone to show her it was safe. Sometimes we all need a little magic to remember who we are." Over the following weeks, Emily and David began meeting regularly at the park. Chloe and Sophie became fast friends, their bond creating a natural connection between the adults as well. Emily learned David was a music therapist who worked with children who'd faced trauma. He had an intuitive gift for creating safe spaces where healing could happen naturally. "The stone wasn't truly magical," David explained one afternoon as they watched their daughters play together. "But believing in magic is often exactly what we need to take the first brave step toward healing." Sophie's recovery wasn't instant or complete. She still had quiet days when the weight of grief made speaking difficult. But with David's gentle guidance and Chloe's friendship, she began rebuilding her relationship with her own voice. 6 months later, Emily and David sat together at Sophie's school music recital, watching their daughters perform a duet. Sophie's voice, once lost insolence, now soared clear and confident, singing of rainbows and sunlight. "You know," Emily said to David as they applauded their children, "I used to think losing her voice was the worst thing that could have happened to Sophie after losing a father." David took her hand gently. "And now?" Emily smiled, watching Sophie beam with pride as she took her bow. Now I understand that sometimes we must lose our voice to discover what we truly have to say. As they walked out of the school together, two families united by their children's friendship and a shared understanding of healing, Emily reflected on how a chance encounter at a park had changed everything. Sometimes, she thought, the most powerful magic is simply knowing someone believes in your ability to fly again. And sometimes the greatest gift we can give another person is the patience to wait while they rediscover their wings. The stone still sat on Sophie's nightstand, a reminder that healing often begins with Thesmolest act of faith in our own voice and the courage to let it be heard.